Welcome to season
1, 2, 3, 4, 5
of Meet the Drapers, the world's largest international business plan competition.
We're going global.
We traveled the globe scouring the US, India, Taiwan, Portugal, Canada, and Brazil for their best and brightest entrepreneurs.
This is amazing.
Every week, these entrepreneurs will compete against their countrymen for a chance to make it to our international semi-finals and then on to finals to compete for a $1 million investment from Tim Draper himself.
The crystal ball ultimately chooses.
But here's the twist. Your favorite business eliminated too early? Vote them back into the finale to get a second chance in front of judges Tim.
This could be quite a thing.
Polly.
It's kind of exciting to people.
And Bill Draper.
That's a real plus in this case.
As well as their VIP guest judges. Let the games begin.
We're funding heroes, future shapers. We're funding heroes, on Meet the Drapers. We're funding heroes, moving and shaking. That's what we do, on Meet the Drapers.
Hey, welcome everybody back to Meet the Drapers. We are now in episode 8 of season 5, and we cannot believe you're still here. We're thrilled, but whoa, we weren't expecting this. Well, today, the entrepreneurs are coming from the Midwest of the US. This is going to be fun, and we have some amazing guest judges today. First, you know me. I'm Tim Draper. I'm a venture capitalist. My father, Bill Draper, was one of the pioneers of venture capital, actually the first venture philanthropist in the world, which is kind of a big deal.
Keep going.
Pretty good dad. And this is my sister, Polly. And we have some amazing guest judges. Kirthiga Reddy, the first female partner at SoftBank. Also president of Athena SPAC and founding investment partners of F7.
Bold women investing in bold ventures.
And beaming in here, we have Randi Zuckerberg. She is really extraordinary. She's spent years in technology and the arts. She is a 3-time Tony Award winner and the founder of Hug. We'll give you a big hug.
Yes, thank you.
You've been a real pioneer here in the arts and NFTs. Tell them first what they are and why you're excited about them and what they're going to be for you.
It always goes back to the creator. How do we take artists directly to their communities? NFTs, I think, are one of the most exciting innovations that I've seen for creators to go direct to their communities and monetize it.
Where do you think this is going to take us?
What I do think will emerge from this are some really interesting use cases where we own our own data, where creators are empowered.
Terrific. And Kirthiga, what are you seeing that you think is going to be happening in the future? What's that world going to look like to you?
For me, it's also instructive to look back at the past, to look out into the future. And what happened far exceeded our expectation. That's the moment of time that we're in right now with Web3, NFT, crypto, metaverse. Anything that is physical right now that can move to digital will move. Just think about the use cases, and I think what we're going to see is going to far exceed our expectation.
This is a great judging panel. I can't wait to see what we're about to see. Let's bring on our first entrepreneur. But before we do, let's see what's going on behind the scenes. Back there.
I had a health issue in 2014. The stomach acid in my gut was eroding away my esophagus. A lot of it had to do with my diet. That really started my proactive wellness journey. I want to make sure that that doesn't happen again in my life, and as many people as I can touch so it doesn't ever happen to them, I'd like to.
Well, let's hear from our first entrepreneur. We've got Brian here from Skinny Pasta. Pasta has never really made me skinny, but I'm counting on you, Brian, because I like pasta.
I think you're gonna love it. What I have for you today is actually a Whole30 compliant pasta. This is a stir fry.
Randy, would you like mine? Yeah,
Thank you. I'm
how
going to go
about
for one
that?
of them.
Wow, I can have spaghetti. Ho, 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 ho. Go ahead, give us your pitch.
It's Skinny is a gluten-free, ketogenic pasta alternative, shaking up the mainstream pasta aisle with our delicious 9-calorie root vegetable-based pasta. Gluten-free options represent less than 33% of better-for-you pasta on the shelf. Of those, selections are dominated by high-calorie and high-carbohydrate options. What's more is that 1 in 7 consumers in the United States eats a low-glycemic diet. But pasta can be different, and It's Skinny is different. That's because we're made with a plant called konjac. Used for thousands of years, konjac is full of fiber and remarkably low in carbs. But what it's phenomenal at is capturing the biggest, richest, and wildest flavors you could dream up. Because when your pasta has only 9 calories, no ingredient is off the table. So grab a bowl, fill it to the brim with sauce or broth or meatballs, whatever you like. It's Skinny pasta time. We have bulldozed into over 4,000 stores nationwide. We're regularly going viral on social media, and we're a #1 bestseller in our category on Amazon. Our sales are at a current run rate of $5 million, with a clear line of sight to $25 million over the next 24 months. Our product is highly differentiated, it's highly disruptive, and I believe, Tim, that It's Skinny is in your crystal ball.
Terrific. Who's your biggest customer now? Is it Whole Foods? Where is it going?
BJ's Wholesale is our biggest customer currently.
And that puts it into a bunch of restaurants? Where does that
No,
put it?
BJ's Wholesale is a club account. It's kind of like Costco on the East Coast. They have about 220 clubs.
Whole Foods has a lot of alternatives to this.
Yeah.
So what makes this better?
Those are all super high in carbohydrates and calories, so they still alienate that 1 in 7 consumers in the United States who's demanding a low glycemic option. What we're doing is we're creating a pure pasta experience for that low glycemic consumer.
Talk to us about unit economics.
Traditionally, we retail for $2.99. We actually just took a 25% price increase at retail. That'll bring us up to $3.49. We have a 50% product margin, and we actually budget for retail spend at the store level for 15%. So discretionary trade spend, we kind of bake into our margin profile.
So I'm curious, why have I never heard of the konjac before? If I haven't, how are you going to educate and market? You know, it's already a heavy lift to market a new product to consumers, especially one they've never heard of.
Traditionally, this was marketed as an Asian product, and it was relegated to that section of the grocery store. It wasn't discoverable in mainstream pasta. So half the battle is just being discoverable in mainstream. So when we go to retail, we put it right there next to the big names.
You must have a sense for who your end customer is. Do you have any way of reaching them so that instead of buying through BJ's, they're going to buy online with you?
In retail, it's really tough to understand who your consumer is, which is why that digital channel is so important.
And your retail margin is 50%. What's your margin?
That's blended. That's blended across the set.
Oh, okay. So what's your retail versus your direct to consumer?
It's all roughly there. 45 to 55 plus or minus.
Right, but if you go direct to consumer, your margin should be much bigger than it is if you go retail.
It is stronger, but keep in mind that we also have last mile delivery costs, which are pretty expensive.
Oh.
So retail, it's about 50%. E-commerce is about 50%. Amazon, it's closer to 30%, let's say.
Terrific. Well, thanks for being on Meet the Drapers.
Yeah, thank you.
So, what did you all think of the skinny pasta? I'm sorry you didn't get to taste it, but let me tell you.
I did.
I know you did, but they didn't. Normally, something that is gluten-free, non-GMO, paleo, keto, vegan, kosher, and no hassle, to me just sounds like you're eating air. But maybe, just maybe, this makes sense. What do you guys all think? Randi?
I'm sitting here doing a little research on the Konjac vegetable, and all my research is showing that it is a very odorific vegetable, that it smells terrible. How does the pasta smell? That's what I...
So good.
Not bad, but they've put a bunch of tomato
Smells
sauce
amazing.
around it.
Wait, should we open one and smell
Let's do it.
I think so.
No, I don't smell anything.
So that's why
and that's without the tomato.
It was a very unpopular vegetable that he is making popular.
Something's working here with the skinny.
I mean, the consumer need is clear. It is impressive to see their sales, and it's also impressive that they've done that, he said, without any real marketing dollars behind it. And so the opportunity for what they can do when they really put marketing behind it is very encouraging.
Dad, what do you think? Are you a pasta eater?
I've got it scored as #1. I tasted some of it, and it tastes good.
Yeah.
What's to lose about
And we
that?
know you because you're honest. I remember When someone gave you some kind of pizza bao bun, you took a bite and said, "That's the blandest thing I ever."
Okay,
right,
with that, let's bring out our next entrepreneur.
Sure.
But before we do,
fuck's
let's
sake.
see what's going on behind the screens and behind Randi's screen
The
and in
screens
the
or the
scenes.
seats?
Now eyebrows.
This is Jamie. He's in charge.
I don't know about all that.
Never ending is really personal to me. What I've learned growing up is that how we see ourselves in the content that we consume, whether it's games or movies or other kinds of media, it really affects how we see ourselves in the world. What I saw in movies and TV was that the best I could hope for, the best that I could hope for was a steady job. That's not inspirational. If we can change how we see ourselves and how we see other people, they can see that they are worth more and that they have the potential for more, and that dreams are not only in reach, but they can create those dreams into reality. I want kids to see that the obstacles that are in their path now can be the rungs on their ladder to success. And the Drapers stamp of approval will send that message to the world.
So as a part of making Meet the Drapers even more fun than it is, we have instituted a new game. It's called Draper X, and you can download it on the iPhone or on Google Play. You can participate. And so while you watch Meet the Drapers and you see these great entrepreneurs present, you can invest your funny money into those companies. And if your company goes and becomes a semi-finalist, you get 5x on your money. If in the semifinals, your company moves up to the finale, you get another 5x on your money. If your company ends up winning, you get another 10x on your money. So we're gonna have a leaderboard, and the winners are gonna get big prizes from Meet the Drapers. I hope you'll download the game. It's called Draper X, and you'll play it with us and be a part of Meet the Drapers.
We'll be right back after a quick break. Welcome back to Meet the Drapers.
So let's hear from our next entrepreneur, Never Ending. Jamie, give us your pitch.
Thank you. Well, hi, Drapers and friend. I grew up surrounded by wealth and beautiful people. Unfortunately, I was extremely poor and living in filth. My mom is intellectually disabled and my stepdad was a drug dealer. I dealt with bullying, abuse. At 13, I spent almost a year homeless. But when I first got on social media, I was excited. I couldn't wait to craft a new identity. I was gonna be cool, be popular, but that's not what happened. The problem was I felt uncomfortable putting myself and my life on display. I was insecure, limited by how other people saw me and how I saw me. With Never Ending, we're removing any limitations on who you get to be. Using our animation platform, you can express yourself without living in front of the camera. Never Ending lets you create a cartoon version of you, or any kind of character you can imagine. You can add that cartoon you and other characters to scenes that you create from our library of backgrounds, props, and creatures, and with a few clicks, turn it into a webcomic, or add animations to create an original animated video. Current animation tools like Adobe After Effects take hundreds of hours to learn, and even after you become proficient, it takes on average 45 hours to create 1 minute of animation. Using our unique video game style approach, we're reducing that time to 1 to 2 hours. And instead of work, the process is fun, like a video game. Our market opportunity is huge. Online entertainment is expected to grow from 200 billion to over 650 billion by 2027. Our total addressable market is 90 billion. And by targeting content creators like live streamers, we've identified an early service obtainable market of 147 million that we can scale to 1.5 billion. Last year, our revenue was only 12,500, but this year we're already over 58,000 and projecting 214,000 by year end. Our vision and passion have attracted a dedicated team of developers, artists, and others, all working at below market rate because they believe in what we're doing. With Never Ending, we can revolutionize how people engage and share ideas. The only limit is your imagination.
Terrific. When it's all anonymous, it quickly goes dark. How do you keep this positive?
In addition to really listening to your customers and finding out what it is that they want to do, I think if you have a platform that is about how you express yourself, you have to have community rules that focus on kind of enhancing and building people up, but you have to engage community moderators in order to reduce that type of bullying behavior.
Wait, so you got community moderators So they are the arbiters of free speech. They freeze out free speech. So you got two things working. You can't win in this argument. It's like, do you want totally free speech or do you want a positive?
Well, I don't think that any free speech is totally free. We already know that. What this is about is creating a place where people can express themselves. And in order to do that, you have to have a certain amount of safety. And we have to accept that there are limitations. We talk about in our terms of service that you can't have bullying, you can't have abusive behavior, you can't have harassment.
And who do you have monitoring that?
So right now, we don't have the full platform launch, so the amount of content that you can create and express is somewhat limited. We're in the very early stages. Right now, we haven't had a need for significant community moderation. And we're also still very small, so the money that we would have to fund that would be extremely limited.
Could I stop you there?
Sure.
What you said isn't quite right.
Okay.
That it takes so much money to design the original.
This is my first software and tech company, but I've always had a passion around entertainment and gaming. If you look at the current video games that are much, much bigger than the early ones that we had in the 80s and 90s, they are taking much more time. It used to be that 50 people was a large team for video game development. Now that's a small team.
I see. So it's totally a different time zone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell me about how this is being used. Are you imagining the users to come to the never-ending platform?
Once you create the content, you can either host it on our platform and build your following of loyal fans there, or you can download it and post it to Facebook, YouTube, wherever you want to use it. So you don't have to stay in our ecosystem, but the benefit of staying in our ecosystem is that if you're looking for this type of content, you have a place to find it. You don't have to be lost in the noise.
I was actually surprised to hear you talking about Web 2 and social media uses for this. So I'm wondering what your strategy is for the metaverse.
So we see a lot of avatar companies focusing just on the avatars right now. We want to immediately create a way for people to use them today before the metaverse comes into full fruition. So one of the interesting things that people aren't considering in terms of avatars and being used in metaverses is there are limitations with the technology, because the ability to actually take your persona, your digital identity, from one metaverse to another is the definition of metaverse, and no one is focusing on that. They're all focusing on these walled gardens, these independent worlds. Well, that's not very meta, so we're going to help fix that.
Terrific. Well, Jamie, this is never ending. We would love for it to continue, but we're going to have to move on.
I understand.
So thank you so much for coming to meet the Drapers.
Thank you all. Have a great day. Thank you again. Bye-bye.
So what did all of you think of the never-ending story? Interesting opportunity, interesting entrepreneur. And judges, what do you all think?
I thought he was superb. His energy is still in the room, never ending. This is as good as it gets.
So I loved Jamie. I was a little less in love with the actual product. I feel like it's not Web 2, but it's not quite Web 3. So it's like, is it like Web 2.4? Like where are we here? Does he have the tech chops to actually pioneer something like this?
He was definitely a hustler, but I didn't feel like we were going to get a lot of follow through from it.
I'm with you, Randy. I just don't get it. It's too complicated for me, and it's not something that's in my wheelhouse at all. But I thought he was an amazing human being. I know he's good on follow through because of what he's been able to do with absolutely nothing.
They say life is about making the most of the cards played to you. I really think that he has transformed the platform that he's on right now. The fact that he's even here doing Never Ending and he has 20,000 plus users. I would not bet on this scaling. I would not bet on a business model here. Those are not answers that I got in the presentation today.
I wouldn't bet against him. He's going to make sure that he is a big success. He'll do what he can. So let's bring on the next entrepreneur. But before we do, let's see what's going on behind the scenes and behind the screens. Behind the scenes and the screens. By all means.
This is the hardest thing that I have ever tried to do in my life. People have misconceptions around the industry. Even though I'm running an entirely legal, normal company, I can't use Stripe. I can't use common payment processors. I can't advertise on Google and Facebook. I've been kicked off of LinkedIn. Everybody's so scared of it, they just shut it down. It would mean so much to me to have Tim invest in us. And I know that Tim has the guts to invest in something like me and like Afterglow. He likes to, do things differently, shake things up. And getting an investment from him would just be like such an amazing stamp of approval for the whole community and the whole tech industry that we deserve more funding, that women's health deserves more funding.
Follow me on Twitter. I'm at Tim Draper. If you got a great idea, go ahead and send it to me. And who knows, you might be the next big contestant. We'll be right back after this.
Welcome back to Meet the Drapers.
So our next entrepreneur is Lily Sparks from Afterglow. Lily, give us your pitch.
So before I start my pitch, I want to induct you guys into the Pleasure Activist Club. Are you guys ready to join?
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to be very active.
You better
pleasure.
I have some fun swag sweatshirts for you guys.
Nice.
See?
Ooh, very nice.
This one's for you.
Oh, boy. Is this considered
It's called
bribing the judges?
This is what I call
At
bribery.
Afterglow, we're all about
All right.
pleasure.
Yeah, there
And
you
then
go.
we also have some socks.
Oh, come on.
Oh,
I heard you
very
like
nice.
socks.
Hey, I'm already
Very
wearing
nice.
Because women actually more frequently when they're wearing socks.
Come on.
Total
Oh,
sense.
is that true?
I totally understand why that is.
Women are. We wouldn't know.
Women are mysterious.
No, I think guys are better without the socks. 'Cause
No,
their
you want
feet-
your feet to be warm
can be
so the rest of
smellier.
you can be warm too.
Is that right? That's kind of a thing?
Sure,
Okay.
it
Well,
wasn't a thing till now.
we're gonna learn
but
more
now I
here.
know.
At Afterglow, we make that helps you have an amazing life. 60% of people are dissatisfied with their life. And I know because I was one of them. I had no idea how to listen to my body or how to ask for what I wanted. Wellness is the next wave of unlocking human happiness. It's already a $74 billion industry, and we're still scared to talk about. Afterglow is a $10 a month subscription platform that gives you access to hundreds of videos that are ethically produced and relatable. We then pair some of those videos with exercises, some that you do by yourself, some with a partner, and advice from therapists and other experts in the space around specific topics that we like to call pleasure journeys. And it's working. Our customers are giving us amazing feedback. We launched about a year ago, and we've already grown to 3,000 paying customers. That's 20% month-over-month growth, and we have about a 50% retention rate after 6 months.
Once they've solved their problem, they're done with you.
Number one feedback we get from customers is just not enough videos. We haven't built up our content library, which is one of the main uses of funds from this round of funding.
Is that a big part of your costs?
We do some productions in-house. We license content. An average piece of licensed content is around $400 a year to license. So our plan is to have a rotating content library and have 80% of it be licensed, 20% of it be our originals, kind of like Netflix. And that breaks even at around 4,000 customers.
So these are videos that you've gotten from sites that you have curated so that women would
They're all ethically produced
approve
videos
them.
that feature women's pleasure.
How are they ethically produced?
Performers being treated fairly, making sure we know that the performers have agreed for the rights to distribute that video. And then we also stay away from a lot of the common tropes that make people feel icky when they watch. So we don't have racial fetishization, we don't have step-sibling tropes, things like that.
What are you using for customer acquisition? What are you finding working, and any demographic?
Partnerships and TikTok. Once people hear that something like this exists, they want it. It's a taboo topic, and that means people want to hear about it. They want to talk about it.
What's the ratio of men to women?
60% women, 40% men. And the surprise when we started to talk to our customers was that there were a lot of couples, and a lot of couples using it together, and that our customer was probably more likely to be in their 50s than in their 20s.
They never got such good access to. Now they're gonna have a curator of their, so that it's not so scary for them.
I think that,
And by them,
yeah,
I'm talking about a friend.
I think that as we grow, like Those people are going to take us, to our first million, 2 million. And then we're going to be able to get, the 25 to 35-year-old woman.
But what makes you different?
We help you have better.
There was always the excuse to buy Playboy for the articles.
Yeah.
But you don't have any articles.
We do. Yeah, so we have articles. We have these exercises that help you take what you see on the screen and start a conversation with your partner. Bring that into your real life, which nobody else does. It makes us extremely different.
Can you give us an example?
Maybe you should check it out.
Well, it sounds like I should.
Is this for heterosexual couples only, or are you including, any kind of couple that's out there?
So I would say that our typical customer is hetero-flexible. We have a very wide variety of content that serves, straight, queer, everything in between. There's so much common ground. These are relevant to all of us.
Well, Lily, thank you so much for coming on Meet the
Thank you so much.
Drapers.
Thank you for helping to break the taboos. I really hope you decide to fund more and great.
Can't argue that.
They're here.
All right. So, what did we all think of Lily Sparks and Afterglow? So where are we going with this? And now we're going to ask our expert panel.
The experts, a panel of experts.
Dad, what did you think?
Well, I'm still out of breath. But I certainly liked Afterglow, and I think the subject is indescribable. I would think it's really going to
You said
succeed.
she's number one. She checks all the boxes for me.
Yeah.
So to speak.
That's right. I picked up on that the first time.
I think it's fantastic that she is making sure that there's an educational component to it, which I think is great, because I think a lot of women, they're afraid to even think about that whole situation, so they don't do any kind of exploring, and this would make them feel safe. The one thing that bothered me slightly was that who curates what is an okay fantasy to have, what is not an okay fantasy, what is okay to do about, what isn't. It seemed like there was sort of a moral component to her thing.
I truly believe that something like this is really needed. How is it that you overcome that taboo? Even to be able to use the service is something that she's going to have to think about.
I really admired the professionalism and poise she showed, even as we were kind of laughing and joking and things, and I could imagine that could get frustrating for an entrepreneur who's trying to pitch a serious business.
The ratings on our show are going to go like that.
Good luck to the next entrepreneur. But before we do, let's see what's going on under the shorts, behind the scenes, around the corner, and through the woods.
I think a lot of us are really disconnected from our food sources. Currently, the way farming is done is fairly unsustainable.
I mean, honestly, our civilization hangs in the balance, right? Climate change is making things worse and worse for everybody, everywhere.
Can we make robots do something useful, something real?
There's not a moment to lose to help start reversing climate change and making sure that our food system, the basis of our civilization, is going to be resilient to the extreme weather events that are going to be more and more frequent over the coming decades, regardless of what we do. So what we're doing at EarthSense is making sure that humanity survives and thrives over the next 50, 100 years and beyond.
So as a part of making Meet the Drapers even more fun than it is, we have instituted a new game. It's called Draper X, and you can download it on the iPhone or on Google Play. You can participate. And so while you watch Meet the Drapers and you see these great entrepreneurs present, you can invest your funny money into those companies. And if your company goes and becomes a semi-finalist, you get 5x on your money. If in the semifinals, your company moves up to the finale, you get another 5x on your money. Your company ends up winning, you get another 10x on your money. So we're gonna have a leaderboard, and the winners are gonna get big prizes from Meet the Drapers. I hope you'll download the game. It's called Draper X, and you'll play it with us and be a part of Meet the Drapers.
We'll be right back after a quick break. Welcome back to Meet the Drapers.
So let's hear from our next entrepreneur, EarthSense. Chinmay Girish, give us your pitch.
How do we feed 10 billion people while helping reverse climate change? At heart, EarthSense is really a terraforming company. While Elon is making the rockets, we are making the most important tech that's going to go to Mars. Teams of autonomous, intelligent robots. Unfortunately, we need some serious terraforming right here on planet Earth urgently. It's hard to believe, but over 380 million acres of American farmland is left bare 2/3 of the year. This causes tremendous erosion, soil fertilizer runoff, and carbon bleed off. The solution is really simple. You plant cover crops.
Our robots go under the plant canopy to plant cover crops 3 months before tractors can do it. We've also created AI that understands and measures plants. Using that AI, our plant measuring robot TerraSentia has created new ways of improving crops, and we measured 10 million plants last year for corporate customers. We planted 100 acres of cover crops last year. We're going to make it very easy for farmers to heal the planet while making more money. Using our plant measurement AI, we're going to be able to certify the cover crop carbon credit that our farmers are going to get.
This year, we're going to be growing 20x, planting 2,000 acres, with farmers paying us $10 per acre.
Is the idea that you're saving time by planting these while the other ones are growing?
You can't plant the cover crop really early into the season because then it competes with the main crop. They can plant after harvest, but that's in September or November, which as you go norther and norther, there's not enough sunlight left for the cover crops to grow.
This is a certain width.
This is designed for the Midwestern 200 million acres of corn and soybean.
So you'll have to design something else for Brussels sprouts or...
Yeah, but our robots use the same modular systems, like they have the same brain, so it's just a matter of designing the shell.
How is it so much cheaper and do you make money?
So the cost of making this is really low, $1,000 or less a pop. Second, it's autonomous, so there's no labor cost involved.
How do you think about utilization?
Broadening the window of planting allows us to really amp up the asset utilization efficiency. It's a one-time activity in the season, right? So you can go take the same team from field to field to field. So a team of 5 robots can cover 5,000 acres pretty easily in a season. The individual labor is also efficiently utilized.
How much are you charging the farmers?
So $10 per acre per season. Average farmer is farming, somewhere around 2,000 to 3,000 acres. So $20,000 to $30,000 dollar ticket.
1,000 turns into 4,000.
Yeah,
exactly.
Around, yeah.
Okay.
And this is every year.
Yeah, how long do they last?
Yeah.
That one's a year old, but has seen a full year's service in the field.
Yeah.
And then do you have something watching it? Because if it runs into a plant that was, and it just stops, what happens?
There's several cameras on board. It's 2 on the side, 1 in the front, 1 in the back. So it's watching itself, it's autonomous. If it gets stuck, it'll recover, try to recover, go off again. Then it has communication systems. So they transmit their position, they have GPS and everything. So if you want, there's like a remote person sitting somewhere, and if it really gets stuck, then they can go out and fix it. But the beauty of this is it's a decentralized system. So I have 5 robots in the field. If one of them gets stuck, the 4 other robots are still going on.
What is a typical cover crop? What is it, grass?
It depends what you want to do. So rye, hairy vetch. So, you would have a grass cover crop, a legume cover crop, or you could even have turnips.
When you pitch, how easy is it to convince the farmer of the economic advantage of this?
So farmers are really technologically sophisticated. There were 3 different farmer syndicates that actually invested in EarthSense because they saw the need for supporting this kind of technology.
Do you guys keep the carbon credits, or do you give them to farmers, or you split them?
So we'll be issuing carbon credits and then splitting the value generated with the farmers.
Who are your competitors in this specific space?
So it's kind of funny. There are companies that are doing agricultural robotics, but nobody seems to have looked at large-scale applications in the largest acreage crops, corn, soybean, cotton, wheat, those kinds of things.
it doesn't seem to me like all acres of land are created equal. And so I'm just curious, like, how do you price that? Like, what if someone's in a really wintry climate or mountainous or rocky, or what does an acre mean really?
So that's one of the reasons why we're starting with this more or less homogeneous system of, serving corn and soybean farmers. Now there are fields that are, in hilly or things like that, and we would have to pay more attention to those, and we would probably end up charging a little bit extra for those.
I think the pricing power point really comes into play here, because there's so much space between what we can charge and what they're charging today. We'll be able to charge different prices in different regions.
I'm a farmer. How much am I going to pay for those?
Depends on the customer segment what the business model should be. If you control 10 to 20,000 acres, then it makes sense for you to buy the robots at, let's say, $5,000 a pop, and then have your own team. You have a team that's running your tractors around, and they'll run the robots around as well.
But are you selling robots individually, or are you doing a service fee?
Service model is the default. The vast majority of farmers have told us that they don't want to deal with yet another piece of equipment. If you're a much larger operation, then it makes sense for you to buy the robots as well, and we're open to that.
Great, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you very much for having us on.
We'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah.
So what did you all think of EarthSense? Does that make sense? I mean, do you think that's a good bet? You can vote. What did everybody think? Randi.
I really liked the idea. I think it's really creative and a really great use to put land to work, to use artificial intelligence. How defensible is this idea, given that these robots do seem easy to create? What would stop any other company from, competing and mass producing?
I think you were spot on. There are lots of little gimmicks that can compete with this and do compete, I'm sure. I would vote against this one.
Yeah, I'm inspired by the mission. They do have steady growth in their revenue, so it feels like the farmers are drawn to it, and revenue is ticking up steadily. It's a one-time use per year, so how big can they grow?
They had me at carbon footprint. They are able to so almost effortlessly reduce these farmers' carbon footprint by their technology. I know what you mean about once a year, but still, once a year that does that for the environment, that's pretty great.
What I liked were carbon credits.
Carbon credits.
Because the carbon credit business is going to be big.
Yeah.
We have the relationships, that's great, but the farmers are going to go for the cheapest solution unless these guys come with another product and another product and another product that either are a race to the bottom or they control the market and they can do great things. So we have seen 4 amazing entrepreneurs.
Of all of these, I think I'm most drawn to the first one, to the skinny pasta.
I think to make this interesting, I'm actually going to pick Afterglow as my top choice.
A half and half between Afterglow and the farmer thing.
Oh.
What's the farmer thing called?
EarthSense.
Never Ending was my choice.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought he was terrific.
Yeah.
I would like to say that the crystal ball is very
confused
right now.
Well, we'll just test it.
Yeah, why don't we bring on the entrepreneurs and see where the crystal ball comes out? Should be very interesting. So we've got a very tough choice here, and so we're going to have to rely on the crystal ball. What was really interesting is this is the first time this has ever happened. All of the votes came in, and they all voted for different groups. So,
very random.
So the crystal ball has had huge confusion. Skinny Pasta, first, great brand, great name, seems to be booming. You're catching a wave. You have a ton of competition out there. And that's a big issue. Hopefully you'll be able to gain enough exposure so that the thing can grow and become big. It's Afterglow. You're breaking into a field in a really interesting way. You're sort of changing the nature of how people look at all of these things. It's a major undertaking, and we think you're up to the task. The concerns we had there were lots of other options, and who is the arbiter of what you're allowed to look at, particularly given your point of view, why you would limit your audience to certain types. You've got this moral thing. But in both your cases, can't argue with the sales. Trends are going very well. Earth Sense, you've got a window of opportunity sort of right now, but when the farmers find that there's a cheaper solution, they're going to go for the cheaper solution. You might have a race to the bottom when other competitors come in, but in the meantime, capture all of the carbon credits you possibly can. And Never-Ending Story, your enthusiasm for your vision, your excitement was catching. It really was quite exciting. You also have a user base that seems to be exploding, which is terrific. We were concerned you were sort of between Web 2.0, Web 3.0. People who jump straight to Web 3.0 may be able to outmaneuver you. We do think that all 4 of these companies have a great future. And now is a very difficult time because we've got to just give our lives up to the fates and see what the crystal ball is all knowing, all seeing, but it also took advice from 4 people who had entirely different points of view on which way this should go. So here we go. Crystal ball, give it to us. Is it a never-ending skinny earth sense? Is it a earth moving? It's earth skinny. This is never ending. This is going on way too long. It's down to skinny and it's cells. So congratulations, Lily, with Afterglow. You get to be in the semifinals. The rest of you, clearly big winners, and clearly our viewers can just plop you right into the finale. So don't give up heart. I mean, this was a great day.
Right?
We really had a good time.
This is the best.
Yeah.
And this is probably the best challenge that we've seen in the groups. I would like to adopt Randi and Kirthiga as Randi Draper and Kirthiga Draper. You are now a part of the Draper family.
They're women,
Welcome
they don't want to
aboard.
take the man's name.
No, you can't. I'm sorry, you cannot go back. There's no going back to Zuckerberg. Hey, sorry about this. It's just Draper from now on.
It's a great family to be part of. Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the family, both of you. Grow your eyebrows and live a long life. And come back next time to see us and see these amazing entrepreneurs at Meet the Drapers!
I won! I'm so happy. Of course I was nervous. You know, the other companies out there were so amazing. It was anybody's game. I'm so happy that the crystal ball ended up coming up.
Meet the Drapers.